Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars, the hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you once again for filling Wahoo Willie's for another show with the mayor. The mayor will be on shortly. The first thing, what? Talking to the mic.
I know, but don't forget my funny story. We have the one funny
We have two
story.
funny stories, but the first thing I want to say is happy birthday to Ann.
Happy birthday.
Ann is down from Wisconsin, Leonardo Arms. We're anxiously awaiting for an elevator at Leonardo Arms, although if I were you, I would just put a tent out on that beautiful beach you have out there behind Leonardo Arms. So do you want to tell your funny story first, or should I tell mine?
I mean, I've pretty much told lots of people already, but I'll go ahead. So yesterday, because I'm cheap, I parked on the other side of the bridge and walked over with Petey, which meant when I left, I had to walk back over in the heat. So I'm walking back over the bridge. It's hot. I'm sweaty. I was on the phone with my mom because it was her birthday yesterday. And I see some ladies approaching me with her husband, and she's got her arms up. And I'm on the phone with my mom, and I said, "Stay on the line, because this is either going to be good or somebody's going to slap the crap out of me. So hold on." And so the woman comes up and she hesitates, and I'm like, "Oh, she's going to knock me right off this bridge." And she said, something very nice, like, "Really like the show." So I said, "Well, I'm never really sure if it's going to be friend or foe." And so they walk by at the same time, some young guy. Now, granted, I had sunglasses on, so you can't tell how old I am, I don't think, with sunglasses on. So this youngish guy goes by on his bike, and he turns around, he looks at me, he goes, "Well, I'd like to be your friend." And I was on the phone with my mom. I'm like, "Oh my God, I think I just got hit on. Like, that never happened."
I went right down there. I got right in the truck and went right down there. How dare you?
No, it was done in a very fun, he heard the friend.
Did you
or
get his
foe
number?
comment. I'm not willing to disclose that.
So the second funny story is last night my phone rings. We're sitting out in the back playing with the dogs and the whole thing. My phone rings. I'm not going to say who called. I'm not going to say who it is. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
I didn't run the story by you.
Oh, you're gonna.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
gonna.
let me tell. Did I interrupt you once during
All
your
right, go
story? I
ahead.
let you tell the whole story.
Yeah, but it wasn't a negative on me.
No, okay, right. So the phone rings and the people on the other end saying, "Hey, we're 10 minutes away from your house in Gateway. We're coming over for a beer." And I was like, "Yeah, nobody from the beach ever comes to Gateway." Like, you're like, how I didn't even think anybody from the beach left the beach to go somewhere else. I just thought they always stayed down here. So now you can see what it's like on the other side of the tracks. Like, come on down to the house. So she's yelling like this in the background, "No, no, no, no." Not because of the people that were on the phone, because of course, women, the house is never clean enough. It
Listen,
doesn't matter who's coming
I'm gonna
over.
interrupt you for
The
one
house
thing.
is never clean.
Sunday morning is my cleaning day. So
Oh,
they
sure.
came on the night before
Yeah.
of my cleaning day.
So she's yelling at me, throwing
I'm
F-bombs,
losing
clean
it.
up the pee, do the dishes.
The dog
Yeah.
has an accident once in a
So
while.
nobody cares. They know that we're slobs on the other side of the tracks, and they're okay with that. And she says to the person after he has a beer or two, "You can't use the bathroom. It's too dirty. You're not allowed. You got to go out in the backyard."
No, I didn't. I said, I hope that you are not affected by the bleach smell, because I just went in there and was like,
Yeah. All right. So that was those are our stories.
So note to everybody here, if you're going to stop by our house, you're more than welcome, but you might want to come on a Sunday rather than a Saturday night, because that's when it gets clean.
And only call 10 minutes when you're 10 minutes out. That's enough time for me to say yes and not, and anyway. So before we get to Dan, there's one thing that I wanted to address with everybody, and The only reason that I want to address it is not because of anything that's out there on the interweb there. It's because I don't want there to be any confusion with the people that follow the show. The people that follow the show may not know the context of what I sent to Kim Beaver about Karen. So I want to clarify that. And you may recall, if you've seen it, it was sent back in January. So this is nothing to do with the current recall. But back in January, there were two things going on. And by the way, I called Karen yesterday and I spoke to Karen yesterday. And, I explained, I didn't apologize because I sent the emails. I own the emails. I have no problem with standing behind the stuff that I do. Most of it's dumb. And so I'm just saying I sent them. For the reasons I sent them was back in January, might recall at a town council meeting, Karen said that she thought there was a leak at town hall. She thought that information was getting out that shouldn't have got out. And that maybe part of it was there was some she thought the ethics should have been tightened up a little. She wasn't accusing anybody of being unethical, but that was the gist of the conversation. I took that as a shot right at me because I get information out. Like, I don't think people realize that as the LPA is meeting, I write a story as it's going on. And as soon as the vote happens, I push it out there so that everybody can see that, Terry's building got voted down 7-0 or Seagate passed 4-3 or whatever it is. So I'm doing the work. And I felt like that was a direct shot at me. The second thing is there was a campaign to unseat Dan as the mayor. There was a campaign to put Karen in the seat as the mayor. And they were calling John King to try and get him to change his vote. He was getting call after call after call. Let me be clear. Nobody on the town council called John. There was no violation of the Sunshine Law going on there. Other people were calling John to get him to switch. So Karen on our show said she thinks the mayor should be a rotating position. She said it sitting in that chair right there. So I felt like Dan's been a great mayor. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but he's been a great mayor. In addition to being a good friend, I didn't appreciate that. And so I don't think anybody needs me to stand up for them, that's for sure. And probably it's a detriment to them if I stand up for them. But I felt those two things were the context of the emails that I sent to Kim. Now, if Kim called me the next day, by the way, at the Puttin Pub, I met with Karen. We hashed that all out. We had a conversation about it. That's what grown-ups do. You have disagreements. We talked it out. She was, she's never going to agree with what we do, but I think she sees the value in the audience. That's why she comes on the show. We have a big audience. And so I think, we have an interesting relationship on the show. She'll come on. She won't always come on. She may never come on again, and that's fine too. If Kim Beaver called me the next day after I sent those texts and said to me, we're going to trump up 3 charges that are not true. We're going to pretend that they broke the Sunshine Law. We're going to loop Jim into this. We're going to put the peer into that, and we will never have to prove it. Don't worry, Ed. Will you still back us? I would have been like, are you fucking crazy? I'm not getting behind that. You're making up lies about people. The difference is the two things that I was concerned about, which you can't recall anybody on, by the way. Those two things were actual things that took place. These 3 things that they're charging Karen and John with, and for sure, Jim's next. There's no doubt in my mind that Jim Matterholt is next. That they know they don't have to prove it. They will never put the proof out. But here's a challenge to them all. If you have that proof, bring it. Put it on one of your Facebook pages. I will share it on my Facebook page, and we will ask them both to resign. But it's a lie. It's not true. And so that's the difference between what happened in January and what's happening now. I feel like I'm being consistent. I don't think you should falsely. It's like if you get a traffic ticket and you go to court, and then all of a sudden the prosecutor and the judge and the jury say, well, being that you're here, we feel like you might have killed that person down the street. So we're going to charge you with murder. And I mean, it's a little extreme, but what I'm saying is you don't have any proof of any of that, but that's okay because the end justifies the means with this group now. They just don't want John and Karen to be on that town council. You heard Bill Veach on our show. You heard him say he still talks to Roger. He still talks to John Herron. That's the old school. They want to take you back to that. They might say they don't want to, but they want to take you back to the way things were. I went back because Jim Steele passed away, unfortunately. So I went back looking for some pictures of Jim. And the last time I saw him sitting was at a town council meeting because he sat in as the town manager for free. He did it for free. And Veach, one of the things that Bill Veach said, and Jim Matterholt reminded me of this yesterday, was that, well, I mean, why should we get rid of Roger right now? Because it was very awkward. They were trying to get rid of Roger. They wanted him to, exit the tent right now. That's how much we want you gone. And so there was nobody there to be the town manager. Well, Jim Steele sitting in the audience, and Bill Veach says, well, why let Roger go? Just keep him here until he's being paid. Let's just keep him here. And Jim Steele stands up, and this is the kind of guy Jim was. He says, I'll do it, and I'll do it for no dollar. So he was the interim town manager until Keith and Chris came along for $0. That's the kind of person that Jim Steele was. So you heard Bill on our show, if you watched it, wanting to take you back to those days. So I just wanted to clarify the context of the emails. Whether you believe me or not, I don't care, but that is the truth. And whether,
you can't you need to take a breath. You can't dispute the date of the emails. The date was before any of this all came on. Yeah. So just that in and of itself, you have to go, well, what was the context under which these emails were sent?
And so what happened last weekend was Kim Beaver sent me an email that said, I haven't posted this, it was a threat. What she was threatening was, I'm going to post this. And I don't respond very well to that. I would never blackmail somebody or try and threaten somebody with, believe me, folks, there's some stuff in this phone from people that, we don't want to go back and forth, do we, about what's in the phones of everybody? But so I just deleted her text. I deleted her email. I ignored it and I blocked her from the page because I don't want to be threatened by somebody about that. And she posted it and all the haters shared it, and that's fine. It's all fine. It doesn't bother me. I'm not worried by it. I don't read the pages. It's all fair game, especially when it comes to all this political stuff. It's all fair game. So I just wanted to clear that up. Is there anything you want to add about that before?
No, I think you should take a breath, though.
But the two other things about these things that are going on real quick. So I don't want
I think you're getting too far in the weeds.
No, I think that was important. Don't you?
You just succinct.
Okay. So the other succinct things that I want to share, if you think me defending John and Karen is defending Seagate, you're making a mistake. I think Seagate was a mistake. By the way, where's Matt Price been? He's kind of ghosted the town since the vote. I haven't seen him at the Putt and Pub. I don't see him sponsoring anything. That he said to me on our show, he wanted to be a participating member of the community. I really haven't seen him anywhere. I don't think Seagate was a smart vote. I don't think there should be 17 stories in that neighborhood. And I've had those three people on the show, and I've asked them.
This before. This is not
This is not defending Seagate because of the vote. But I do think the right thing is for it to go to court, let the judge decide whether it needs to be kicked back to the town council. And I think if that happens, you will probably see a different vote. Now, whether or not that gives Seagate an opportunity to sue the town, I don't know what that whole process is. But when I had John, Jim, and Karen on the show, and I said, do you feel like you're protecting the neighborhood, like Tropical Shores Way, when they were going to put that big building over there? They protected the Tropical Shores Way neighborhood. And the answers were pretty bad. Because the answer is no. Obviously, you're not protecting that neighborhood when you let those big buildings in. So I don't want you to think because I feel like Karen and John are being wronged with the lies that it also means that I support Seagate. I think that was a bad idea. That was a bad vote. So you don't try and tie the two in together. They're two completely different things. And two final things. There has been some threats out there, not threats so much that somebody said that we should look into the coffee money. In other words, I'm not really reporting coffee money and things like that to some nefarious things. No, what I just want to say is feel free to call the FBI if that's what if you're going to make a threat like that, just do it. Just call the FBI and say to them that he's stealing money somehow. I want you to do that because if you don't think that hasn't already happened, you're crazy. It has happened. And so if you think that that's one of the things, okay. The last thing is there was some kind of thread out there about boycotting Fort Myers Beach businesses that support us. And my only challenge to you is try it. Just pick a business, pick a day, and boycott them. And let's see how that backfires on you, because most of our audience is kind of quiet. They kind of don't pay attention to what's going on. But when you ask them to do something for the right reasons, they step up to the plate within hours. So I just want you to go ahead and try it. If that's what you think, that you have that kind of power, then just try it. I just wanted to get those two things across. That's all. So anything else you want to add?
What I said before, I take it back.
What do you mean?
I
What?
said that you were gonna. I was trying to get you to be a little less impassioned, but
Well, I feel like I controlled my temper a lot more than when Terry Prasad was here and I lost my cool. So, all right, everybody. Here is the man of the hour. The real reason why you're here is not to hear me ramble on. It's the
and
mayor.
not the man of the hour. Now you got like 40 minutes, my friend.
No, he's got 44 minutes. Can we get a big hand for the
Well, I
mayor
can
of
be-
Fort Myers Beach? The great mayor of Fort Myers Beach.
I can be short. I can be short-winded too.
You mean, yeah. Oh, well, I'll
but-
save this. I'm going to save
Can
this.
before
Yeah.
we start,
Yes.
can I just take a minute to send condolences, obviously, out to Vice Mayor Adderholt and his family. Jim Steele passing away was, I think, a surprise to everyone. Those of you who didn't know Jim Steele, I may get a little emotional because he was such a nice guy. He used to hang out all the time after golfing down at the sandbar. He would come in and you'd see him in there with his golfing buddies. And, you know, he stepped up to the plate after the storm when we needed a town manager for the week. And as you said, he did it for free.
Yeah.
And in that week, what most people don't know, he was a financial guy. He was a numbers guy. And what a lot of people don't know is in 1 week, he found discrepancies that the previous administration did some things right after the storm that, if you ask me, were not in the best interest of the town. And he found them very quickly, and he brought them to my attention. And you know, Keith and Chris took care of it very quickly when they came in. He was only there for a week, so but he found some things that you know, were corrected, cost the town some money, but he changed it really quickly. He was a former town manager, as you have said, Ed, but he was a great man. He was kind. And we lost a good one.
Didn't he live around the corner from you guys? Yeah, he lived over in.
Yeah, he was down by you guys, right? Just off of
yeah.
Laguna.
So, and I know
And
I
he lived next door to the guy that we all went down and helped out get back in his trailer. We did his, I can't remember, was it Joe? Was that his name? Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice old guy.
So, and the now I forgot what I was going to say about Jim. Oh well.
Yeah, I didn't mean to
lost
bring
my
it down.
train
I
of
was
thought.
just,
Oh.
he was a good man.
I asked Jim Adderholt because did you say it's Jim's uncle? I don't know if
Yes.
either
Jim
one of us.
Adderholt's uncle, yes.
Yeah, I asked for a picture because I wanted to post a picture. They're getting ready to put the whole funeral ceremony together, whatever they're going to be, and so we'll know something by our Friday newsletter, which we'll share with everybody. So I guess I just want to get your input quickly on this whole recall thing.
Well, so yesterday, and you know, Megan was out of town for a work thing, so I'm sitting around with the dogs, and I had 10 minutes, so I'm on the tick and the talk, and I saw a shirt on there, and I thought, wow, that really resonated with me. It said, "Don't let the bad days win," and that's all it said. And I thought that was a pretty moving shirt because, you know, there's a process in place for people to go through. Whether you agree with the process, whether you agree with the details of the process, it's still the process. Someone has chosen to do that. I think that's perfectly within their right. I also agree with you. I think being able to say things that are, if there's one thing I will say about John and Karen, their ethics is not in question in my mind. They're two very ethical people, in my opinion. They try to do the best they can. We don't always agree on votes, but you don't want everybody to always agree on votes, right? That's how you get the best decision. So, but the process is what it is. If you don't like it, then go to your legislature and request them to change it. There's a reason recalls are not very successful in the state of Florida. And that's because it's very hard to prove things. To your point, you don't have to prove things. So we'll see where this process goes. Much like the Seagate thing, people are going through the process that they're allowed to go through to challenge the decision that the town council made, and we'll see where it goes. I think one thing that you're going to see come out of this, if let's say for instance, it makes it all the way to the end of this recall and becomes a vote, and which to me is a huge waste of taxpayer dollars. You know, people understand that anything they do when they email us or they call us, it all becomes public record, right? But what an election is not public record. You
That's
can
right.
go. You can go vote for
Right.
whomever you want.
Right.
And you don't have to explain to anybody why you voted for them. You don't have to tell anybody who you voted for. You can vote in confidence in who
Yeah.
you want to vote for. And that's the point of an election. A recall election doesn't allow you that. Although I've told you this, you and I have talked about this. I don't agree with some of the posts that you make about, make sure you write clearly because I'm going to put it out there. Even though everybody understands that it's public record, it doesn't mean that it has to be, right? I mean, if someone wants to go find something out, they can go find it out. We're public officials. You can go look up anything you want of us.
Yeah,
if
and
that's
let me
what you
ask
want.
you a question
But let me finish. We've worked very hard to get to a point where people feel comfortable coming into town hall. They feel comfortable being able to speak
That's
their
not
mind.
what they think.
Well,
That's not what the other side thinks. They
some
said it to
don't.
my face.
Then they're talking out of both sides of their mouths. Then I don't know what to tell you, because we've worked very hard to make it so that people feel welcome, and there's no one on this planet that should feel uncomfortable about speaking their mind, whether it's in a recall election, whether it's something in the decision that I make or someone else makes. If you feel like you believe in something, you should be able to say something and not have to worry about you're going to get beat up.
No, I don't.
social media.
I don't want to.
And I'm not saying you did that.
That's unfortunately
saying
that's
that-
the way the world works these
It
days.
does, it
I
does,
feel
but-
like John and Karen are really being wronged. It has nothing to do with the vote. I don't want anybody in this audience to have to deal with that. I don't want her or me or my daughter or that's not right. What they're doing is not right. And why can't I help them prove that it's not right? Why is it that you think that it's okay? Not you think that it's okay that you sign your name to that and I can't make it public? Why? Because nobody watches our page, right?
Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's not the point. The point is
Wouldn't you want me to defend you like that if it happened to you? Yes or no?
Yes and no. I mean, yeah. I mean, I understand why and I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree that what they're claiming they did, I don't believe that they did that. And if they did do it, bring out the proof. Bring out the proof.
Isn't it that simple?
And if it was proven, if what they're saying is proven, John and Karen are ethical people. I don't think that they did anything wrong. If you have proof to say that they did it, then tell everybody they did it. And maybe they step down, maybe they don't. But
If
there's
you
an
had-
election coming up in November. If they
Not
choose
this
to run
November.
or don't choose
Next November.
next November, if they choose to run, let your voices be heard one way or another at the ballot
Look,
box.
if we're being 100% honest about the whole thing, you guys know if they ran for election, they wouldn't win because of Seagate. I mean, if we're being honest, I don't think they have a chance
I
to
don't
win
know.
right now.
I
I don't.
know.
I don't
But that's
know
just
if
my
that's
opinion.
True. I don't know if that's
I guess
true.
here's the
That
thing.
makes me think you're talking on both sides of your
No,
mouth.
I really don't think that, because I think there are enough people upset about Seagate. I don't know if there are enough people upset to recall them. I think when you're in the privacy of your own voting booth and you have the Seagate thing in the back of your mind, I think more people will vote. I mean,
Well,
I guess it also
I get-
depends on the
I get what-
candidates.
right.
Again, the way I understand it, and I'm not by no means an expert at recall elections, but the way I understand is even if let's say it makes it to this recall election where there's a special ballot,
Mhm.
my understanding is that you have to vote to unseat them
True. Yes.
as well as vote for
Yes.
someone to replace
It's a
them.
two-part
Right.
thing.
So it's not
And there'll
just
be two
it's
ballots.
not just a one-time thing. And this is going to cost, if it gets that far, it's going to cost the town
25 grand.
$30,000.
Yeah.
There's a reason we went to 4 years versus 3 years, and it was to save the $30,000 it cost the town to have a special election
Mhm.
off
Now
off
here you
cycle.
are back with
Well,
that.
But again, it's the process
Right.
that's in place that they're allowed to do. They've chosen to do it, whomever they all are. Let them do it. And if they get the votes, they get the votes. It'll go to an election, and people will speak their mind at the ballot.
Yes.
You brought
If
up
it doesn't, it doesn't. Then we'll see what happens next November.
You brought up a point about ethics, and I was talking about this with you and a few others. I know, if I don't think there is a rule on this, but if you're sitting in a government position and you have knowledge that someone has committed a sunshine law violation, it feels like there would be a rule that says if you have knowledge of that and you're a public official, you should report that somehow to some sort of thing.
Well, there's an ethics commission that you can, if you feel any,
No. She means like if you see John and Karen talking about an issue that's coming up for a vote, should you report them? You as a mayor, you as a town council member. That's what she's saying.
Well, I think, yeah, ethically you should. If you feel anybody's doing something they're not supposed to do, you should report it. But I have not seen John or Karen or anyone else on the
Right.
council do anything. You know, you'll see us at events, but we're all smart people. We all know what we can do, what we
Yeah.
can't do. You can be at the same event. You just can't talk about anything that not only
No, I'm
not
not.
only
This
on
is
the-
not
but
about
this-
you.
It's that you could potentially talk about. That's the sticky thing.
Mhm.
So, you know, usually if you see us out together, we're talking. I mean, Scott and I were just at the ribbon cutting, and Karen were at the ribbon cutting of SOBs, and we were talking about how long it took Karen to walk there if she had traffic issues. So it was kind
Right.
of a funny.
You never know.
You know, we were
Right.
just cracking jokes and talking about fishing stories and other things, and you're surrounded by 1,000 people, so everybody's listening, everybody's watching.
Yeah.
Do you need to say something?
No, Jason and Jacinta from Margaritas are here, everybody, and hopefully they'll be back again someday. We never get to really see them down on the beach. We always
Yeah,
see them
no
down
kidding.
at their place on
So have
41.
we beat this recall thing to death yet, or
Yeah, I
should we
mean,
keep going?
yeah, I mean, the
let's
unfortunate,
keep-
finally, the unfortunate thing is Will starts tomorrow, and he's got I mean, this is such a Mickey Mouse thing to have to walk into. I'm sure he won't care about it because he's not a political person. He's a town manager, but it's just it's an unfortunate thing to have to walk into.
You know, you've heard me say it on your show before. I think Jelly Roll said it best. I saw him in an interview once saying, "Your windshield is bigger than your rearview mirror for a reason," right?
Yeah.
And we've got so many good things going on. This
Yeah.
is, you know, this is a bump in the road. If there's one thing that's 100% you could guarantee, I'm not a gambler, but if you're ever going to bet $1 on something, there's going to be some sort of drama on this beach.
Yeah.
One way or another, there's going to be something.
I'm telling
But,
you.
but if you can keep, again, it goes back to that, don't let the bad days win.
Yeah.
As long as you keep the focus on the positive things that are going on, that stuff will work itself out one way or another.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the issues. The first, somebody asked me, they live on the north end, about the lighting, and I was like, oh God, I got to ask Dan about the lights again. Here we go. And unfortunately, she's like almost on the northern end of the island, and I said, yeah,
the northernest.
2028, you'll have your turtle lights installed up there. But I know what's the
On our meeting, Friday, every Friday we have a call with them. They're still on track to meet the November 1st deadline. So
Of this year?
of this year,
Okay.
that's what they're
so that
saying.
means all the way up the island.
And
There's
the
going to
side
be
streets. They've got 210 of the almost 300 poles that are going on the side streets are already installed. So if most people don't even notice them. You drive down, you're like, wait a minute, where'd that concrete pole come with that
Yeah.
light?
Yeah.
Just, I mean, they're moving.
Good.
And now you're starting to see the people with the ditch witches digging on the concrete that are in front of the new fire station, and that they're kind of moving up that way to get the conduit in. So they're moving on. They're hoping in the next couple of weeks you're going to start to see the poles go back up on Estero Boulevard after that's been corrected.
cool. All right.
So
Are
they're
we
still,
going to have
they're
some
still
kind
saying,
of party under the lights when they
You
go
have-
on?
you know, I like a bourbon every now and again. I might try
That's
to find
kind of the color of these
Yeah,
lights.
yeah. I might when the final lights get turned on, I might have to have a good glass of bourbon.
Talk about the Festival of
I mean,
Lights.
this has
We
been
should have our own.
yeah.
You guys should have your own Festival of Lights down
7
here.
years, 8 year. I don't even remember. 7-8 years now of constantly talking about it. Now we've
Yeah.
had 5 hurricanes that
Yeah,
have come
yeah,
through and
obvious,
have
yeah.
slowed some things down, but
So
we're getting there. We'll get there.
I just want to say one last thing. I'm going to read the Bill Veach email at the end of the show when Dan's done. So I know I said I was going to read that. If anybody in the audience wants to read it in the meantime, here it is right here. It's up on our Facebook page now. Feel free to share it on the FMB Rising page if you'd like to share his email. So I'll read it at the end of the show. So the second question that I got was the sand and the sidewalks on the north end. Like, you know, we have spoken about how Rose Nice up her spot.
Mhm.
Where is the town on fixing its own sidewalks and curbs up there?
Well, it's kind of a joint thing, right? If you have a property, especially on North Estero Boulevard, there's a lot of properties that aren't there. So when the wind blows, it blows all that sand into the road, right? If you were to silt fence your property, we wouldn't have that sand blowing onto the road. So if you didn't notice, our crews were out this week shoveling the sand on Estero Boulevard. You know, our public works people were out there shoveling the sand on and getting the sand off of Estero Boulevard.
So what about the curbs and the sidewalks that are broken?
Well, we don't have anything to do with South Estero Boulevard,
Right.
North Estero Boulevard. We're still waiting.
Don't tell me
for
wait for
obligation.
FEMA money.
Waiting for obligation.
Holy crap. This is going on 3 years, Dan. FEMA's going to be gone by the time you got obligated.
Yeah, what happens if they're gone and you never get it?
Well, again, I just want to reiterate a lot of the things that were damaged from the hurricanes.
What?
If you want to get reimbursed from federal dollars, you have to wait until they tell you it's okay. If you try to do something ahead of time, you are not eligible for that funding.
Yeah, but how much could those
if
cost?
people want to pay for it,
Okay.
we can do it. But
You're not going to get
it all
reimbursed.
costs. You won't
There
get
you go.
reimbursed.
You
right?
could raffle, but instead of buy a brick, you could buy a
But if there's-
section
if
of
there's- if-
sidewalk and
well,
put,
if-
write your name, put your hands in it.
If someone feels it's a public safety issue, please by all means let us know. And we'll, we fixed some things on Crescent that were a
Mhm.
public safety issue. Some things you just got to make sure that it's safe.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about was the fireworks seem like they're in limbo. Last we heard, you were looking for 38,000. What's going on?
Well, we actually both Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach put in a request for TDC funding. The attorney at the county ruled or opined that it wasn't within the state statute to be able to use funding for that. I pushed back a little bit. I mean, in other municipalities or other counties around the state, I've been told that the TDC has been used for that. So, that's the thing with attorneys. I guess you can ask 10 attorneys to give you an opinion on something. You're going to get 10 different answers.
Mhm.
So yes, we didn't get the funding. Someone did reach out to me and said that they were interested in helping with this fireworks. So I put them in contact. They asked how much it was. I didn't give them any answers. I just put them in contact with Andy, and Andy worked it out with them, with the attorney. And as of right now, this person may show up tomorrow and give some good news or not give some good news. I don't know. That's where I know it's at right now.
So who's the person?
You'll find out tomorrow. I'll let that person be
Yeah.
the one that wants
Is
to.
his first name Matt?
Their name is not a he or a she.
Really?
I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Is
You're
it
gonna find out
is it a
tomorrow.
company or an individual?
It is going to be the person you're going to find out if they show up tomorrow.
So let's say, forget
I
who.
mean, it is a lot of money because it's the barge, right?
And if you're going to make a donation to the town, obviously you want to get the attorney involved to make sure that the way it's being done, it's all out in the public. Everybody sees it. So when they reached out to me about it, I put them in contact with Andy right away and let Andy and the staff handle it.
on a scale of, take the person out of it, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your gut feel on whether or not they'll do it? If you were
I would say probably 99% sure they're going to
Okay.
do it. Now, whether or not the council votes, I'm guessing we'll have to take a vote on to accept the donation. But
we're all a little hypothetical here. Imagine if
but the fact
Seagate
that
came
somebody
to the
wanted to
table
step
with
up
the
and
money.
do it, is
Yeah. But imagine if Seagate stepped up to the table and tried to donate the money. I wonder how that would go over in the community. I mean, would people go to the fireworks?
I don't know.
I mean, how crazy would that be? I mean,
Well,
that would be
I-
great
I-
if he
well-
did it. It would show that he's trying to be a community partner, but
Well, I think
that would be odd.
The storyline for whomever it's going to be
Yeah,
should be, that's a
lot of money.
significant donation.
Yeah.
yeah,
right?
for sure. The
It
whole
should
amount
be
you said.
whatever they want it to be.
Yeah,
Like whatever
And
their
not to,
reasons are.
not to throw light on it, but let's hope for no fog.
yeah, no kidding.
Oh,
I can't believe you
Dan.
brought the fog thing up, Dan.
Well, I was just trying to break the mood a little bit.
Was it you guys? Did you guys make the donation? The $78,000 donation for the fireworks?
78,000. Oh, it just went up.
38.
No, it's 38 is only half.
You said
All in pennies
38 is only half.
38 is only half?
and
Right.
ice cream cones, right?
38 because it's only half, right? The whole price is like
38 is
I don't know
only
what the
half?
dollar amount is. Again,
Yeah.
I just referred them to Andy and staff. And
Geez, I won't even pay $20 for parking.
yeah, yes.
It won't be me up there tomorrow donating the money. I can
Well,
tell you that. I don't have
if
it.
every time you're going to get some digits, why would you pay for parking?
You'd be looking for sparklers in Times Square. That's what you'd be looking for.
I think Ed should be a little worried. All of a sudden, you're coming to the shows on the weekend, all dressed in some fancy stuff.
I know, right? That's
Walking
her,
over
some
the
fancy
bridge.
she
perfume.
probably got it from her boyfriend on the bike that comes over the bridge.
Who
The young guy.
knew a puppy worked both ways?
Right,
You just
that's right,
carry around a
right,
puppy.
right.
It's like it's
So-
like having
And
a
that
baby.
damn dog is getting heavy. He
Yeah.
does not, even with a harness on, he does not want to walk. As soon as you put him down, he goes the opposite direction. So
So
you got to carry him.
I'm
the
pretty
whole
sure
way.
I got the dumbest dog in the litter. So I mean, I love the dog, but
Well,
here's
that's
what
what,
happens.
I said too. But
Oh.
I say it every single day.
So I take the dog out. The dog is learned to go out and go to the bathroom, pees outside. He comes back in, he sits down. I give him a treat right outside. We go in the house, he pees in the house, and then he sits down. He thinks it's, I'm going to just pee everywhere because I'm going to get treats everywhere.
We used to, when I lived back in Minnesota, we had a Rottweiler, and this was before my daughter was born. We had two other kids, and we had a Rottweiler. And then when my ex was pregnant with my daughter Alexis, the kids wanted this little lap dog. They wanted a lap dog. So we get this lap dog, to your point, and I'm like, this it was like the dumbest dog I've ever met. We made the mistake of buying it instead of rescuing it. We made the mistake of buying it from what at the time
Pet store?
at the time there were still malls that had like puppy places.
Yeah, that's
You
where I
go buy
got
puppies,
Chloe.
right? So we bought this puppy, we brought it home. It was a cute little, I don't know, Boston Terrier, whatever it was. But in Minnesota, it's colder than heck, and the snow is. So you take the dog out, and you'd stand out there freezing your butt off for like 20 minutes. And the dog's got to go, and it wouldn't go, and it wouldn't go, and go. The minute you walked across the threshold in that front door, the dog would pee or poop on the floor.
Yeah.
Every single time. Every single time.
Did you have him in a sweater? Maybe he was too cold. And
I
couldn't
don't
pee
even remember if
'cause
it was a
too
he
cold.
or a she, but that dog, I remember it used to drive my ex crazy. She's like, that damn dog keeps peeing out. You wanted it. You notice my dog doesn't pee in the house. My
Yeah.
dog just lays under the pool
I
table.
think
like,
you've
get
told
rat
that
away
story
from
on
me.
the show before.
I
How long have
probably
you
have.
been
I don't
doing
think
this show?
so.
I remember that story.
Under
Now-
the pool table.
Now we got the puppy that's peeing everywhere. We've got Callie, who has had an operation on her back, so she's got her dressed in pajamas. Like I don't know how the dog is able to pee when she goes outside. Like
Because
the
they're
pajamas
specially designed pajamas.
and
for
the
that.
cone on her head, and she's all depressed because she's got
I
the cone
know.
on her head, and she got
We're
her
almost-
feet got swollen. Like
We're almost done because of this stuff.
yeah,
I get no kickbacks.
It's
for
amazing
that.
how much people will spend on their pets.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of pets, did you see Sassy? I posted about Sassy.
I did not.
Oh,
What is
Sassy was
Sassy?
awesome. Sassy was at the SOB ribbon cutting on Friday, and it was a service horse, a mini horse.
Oh, I did see that.
And it's been on the news before.
I thought it was a donkey, but it was a mini
It was
horse.
a mini horse, and she was sassy. It went
Talk
up to,
about a lot of work. Wow.
cleanup.
Does the horse travel in the car with him?
I didn't. Sassy was a little sassy, so I didn't get a lot of.
Probably
we talked
in
for
a
a few
trailer.
minutes, but
Now, if you have a
but he did say she was house trained.
if you have a service horse, is the service horse allowed in the restaurant?
He said he was going to take it in. To
Would
get
you guys
something,
let a service horse in your restaurant?
No.
A little
a
you
mini
would.
horse? Well,
Oh wow.
Sassy was small. I mean, she was.
Yeah.
She was fine. I think there was a lot of commotion though. There was
All
a
right.
nice. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he was a Marine veteran.
I am
Nice man.
sweating so much right now. It's starting.
It's
The
warm.
summer's starting to set, and
Yeah.
I feel the sweat
The heat's coming in.
rolling down my back. So Will, the new town manager. By the way, everybody, hopefully you can come next Sunday. Will's going to be
Yes.
on the show.
Yes.
We would like you all to come and welcome Will. He's bringing his wife. She's not going to be on the show, but he's going to come on, and I would like everybody to come over and welcome Will to the community. He's looking for a house on the beach. Tomorrow is his first day, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's going to be some overlap.
Yeah. So tomorrow he gets sworn in. So I think he'll actually take Andy's seat. Andy will still be there through at least the end of the month to help be that guiding light, if you will, to help him fill some things in. Will's walking in. He's gonna be drinking through a fire hose, right? But
Right.
if there's anyone that can do it, I think Will's going to be the guy for the job. He's as you interviewed him, you got to talk to him, you've heard him speak. He knows what he's doing. I'm confident that he's going to be able to hit the ground running pretty hard.
He does seem well equipped to handle.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting his wife, Deidre. She's, I know that they're in town from Colorado, and they are looking for a house, which is great. So one of the things, I think I told you this, one of the things he said to me that really stuck out to me is how they wanted to be part of the community. They wanted to be on the island. They wanted to make a community because his career has been so, he'll talk about it next week, but it's been so extraordinary what he's done, in his professional career and for the country, to be able to have someone of that caliber to be here and help us in the next step. We've taken the step. Andy's gotten us so far, and now Andy's taking
ready to
some
go.
time away with his
Yeah.
family, which is what I'm happy.
Did a great
for him.
job.
He did a great job, and now we've got Will that'll come in and take off or pick up where Andy left off. And in talking to a lot of people in Tallahassee and around the state, we've been very fortunate. We've been able to get people like Chris and Keith that have come in
Yeah.
and have had a great relationship with Andy, where Andy could reach out to them because they were here before him. And now will have not only Andy, but he'll also have Chris and Keith that he can ask questions to
Nice.
about the early days. So the fact that you have essentially 4 town managers that are willing to communicate with
They
one
love
another.
this beach.
Yeah.
They all
And
love the beach.
Anybody that ever comes here, it becomes part of your soul, right? There's a little bit. I talk to Chris all the time, and he's like, he and Keith both have they have a soft spot in their heart for this beach. They see the passion, they see
Yeah, I was just gonna
they see the will of the people, and there's some there's some negative energy, but the positive energy is always outpowering the negative.
So if you were
I was
to,
gonna. I
Go
just
ahead,
wanted
dear.
to ask, and then I'm gonna go clean off that table.
it's crowded in here,
with,
everybody.
With him coming on, what do you think the top 2 or 3 challenges are.
God, you
right
stole
off.
the question right out of my mouth.
Well,
I'd
obviously,
like to put this right in your mouth.
obviously the top challenge is going to be, getting acclimated to who we are and what we are, and weeding through the, some of the nonsense and figuring out what the top priorities are. Andy,
What do you
I'm
think
sure
they are?
What do I think the top priorities are? Obviously getting into the town hall once we get done with that. But for me, the top priority has always been getting people back in their homes and the businesses back open. That's what's going to make us sustainable, right? You can have all the projects in the world, but if you don't have people here to support it, it doesn't really matter. We talk a lot about the TDC and we talk a lot about that. Hotel rooms are great, but if they're empty, what does it matter? If we get houses built and we get people like, I don't think there's an open seat in here. You get people coming in.
Because of you.
Well, it ain't because of me. It's because they believe in this island, right? And it's because they love living here.
Yeah.
So, and they want to hear from people. They want to hear from their people that they've elected, and good or bad, they want to hear.
Right.
They want to hear from you. So, I think the faster we can get more homes built, I'm really excited to see what numbers are going to come out here in June and July from the property appraisers to see how we've moved up from last year. I don't know that the numbers will be the same, but I'm really excited to see what those preliminary numbers say as far as it goes to ad valorem. And again, one of the positive things I think that we can talk about that a lot of people, and I keep bringing it up over and over again, is because I think it's impressive on how the staff has worked very hard to get, after 5 storms, we still haven't raised the taxes on anyone, right?
Mhm.
I think that's a thing that gets lost in the fray. And we've been able to do it because of good planning on the staff and working hard. There's people on our staff that are doing 2 and 3 jobs that are outside the scope of what they were hired to do. And it's because they believe in who is leading them, and they believe in where they work. And I think that Will is going to pick up that baton and he's going to carry it across the finish line.
Have you guys hired a CFO?
We have, yes, or haven't hired. We promoted within.
Really?
CFO.
Who is it?
I'm sorry, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but
She worked for Joe and she applied
worked
for the job.
Joe, yes, my understanding, she's been.
Cool.
I would have to ask Andy if it's a permanent thing, but I know we have someone that has moved into that. And now that Will's coming in, Will's going to have to get his hands behind all of that because we're coming up on our fiscal year fairly quick. So he's got to get his hands behind that. He's going to have to get his hands behind a new town hall.
When are you going to be in the town hall?
We got our fire sign off hopefully by the end of the month, if not in June, is what it sounds like.
Okay. Will Andy still be around so that he can enjoy I'm sure you're going to cut a ribbon in the whole thing. Do you think he'll be or at least come to town for that? He's got to be there for that.
I think he would. I think this is one of the things that was very, very important for Andy is to, he's worked like the rest of us. He's worked in trailers the entire time since the storm. So to be able to get a staff in, and I know they've started moving some of the staff in on the second and the third floor, to be able to get a building where people have space and room and they can meet with people. And, meeting in a trailer is not always easy. We have meetings with people, whether it's a resident or it's a developer or whomever. We're in council chambers, and anybody that's ever been to a council meeting knows those revolving doors because you got to walk through to get to everything else. So it'll be nice to have a space for people to be able to actually work and feel comfortable. Like, we all remember what it was like. Everyone in here that lost their home remembers what it was like the first night you got to sleep in your own bed in your own house. To me, it's got to be the same for an employee that's been here before the storm. They're finally going to be able to go into their own office where they can hang pictures up and feel like it's their space. And I think when you're able to do that, you're going to see,
space.
and it'll be a safe space that survived the storm. And I think that they're going to be able to, you're going to be able to see them flourish even more because they're going to be comfortable. They're going to know. It's going to be interesting to see the learning curve. Will's got a lot on his plate. He's going to have to learn the staff, figure out who belongs where, elevate. I have all the confidence in the world. Will's going to be able to do that very quickly.
So I know you guys are going to hate me for bringing this word up, but is the town prepared for a hurricane?
I think, yes. I think Andy has worked really well and staff has worked really well with the fire department, with the county, with everybody else, Benita, Sanibel. We've got a very good working relationship. We have a plan in place. I'm encouraged to see how Will's going to be able to take his expertise, which people may or may not know. He has got a lot of expertise in emergency management. And I don't want to steal his thunder. He'll tell you all about it next week. But so another thing that he said in the interview, what I thought was very interesting is when you're dealing with emergencies, if you're exchanging business cards with someone at the EOC, which is the Emergency Operating Center, it's already too late, which tells me you got to build those relationships. And I think that's what Andy has done over the last two years to be able to put in place so that we'll be able to make a nice, easy transition, be able to understand who the players are, where the EOC is, which I'm sure Will already knows where the EOC is probably. So
Speaking of the EOC, they have just upgraded millions of dollars worth of upgrades,
Yes,
and they're doing a
yes.
ribbon cutting this month, and we are going to go to that and carry it live because it plays such an important role everywhere
it does.
in Lee County, and they really, I don't know if they give tours of that place, but it's unbelievable. It is like being like in some kind of
The new one's gonna be
overwatching a
good.
war, like the screens and everything, and the
Well, it's
videos.
everything. It's everything you've seen in the movies, right? We've all seen military movies where, whether it's the president
The
or
command
whomever,
center.
the
Yes,
command
yes.
center, they can look over and like FEMA's there, FDP's there,
Is FEMA there?
the county's there,
In
everybody.
spirit, they're there.
There's somebody from every jurisdiction, state and federal,
Yeah.
that you literally are across the table from and you can talk to. It's a pretty interesting building, and people after Ian were sleeping on the floors, and I think that's what they realized. They need more showers.
They put cots in, they put where you can sleep.
You
Yeah.
need to have a place because you spend
Hot
weeks
spots.
there. No, I was here on the island. I wasn't. We did have employees up there, but I was on the island. But I've been to the EOC, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the new EOC looks like.
For anybody that doesn't know, the town council is meeting tomorrow at 9:00, and on the agenda
It's a
is
big one.
the lighthouse. If you haven't seen the pictures of the lighthouse, it's unbelievable. And I'm not asking you to comment on any of it, but the pictures of the lighthouse. I actually, in the walk around yesterday, I walked through that path that they're going to. I was trying to figure out how they're going to do it from the pictures. There's so many trees next to the bridge, but one of the public benefits was the walkway underneath the bridge here, and then you go out to the base of the bridge, which is really nice. Everybody uses that when they
Yep.
walk the back way. So I mean that, and the
You might as well
buildings
put it
that
in
they
there,
have
yeah.
now on, is that 3rd Street where they have the building where?
Yes.
Okay, those buildings look unbelievable, and I actually walked in the
They
floors.
built a new pool back there.
Yeah,
now.
they have a new
Mhm.
pool, and the floors look like inside the house tiles. They're so nice that they have outside.
Yeah, I've got a chance to look at their new bungalows that they have back there. They're really nice.
Well, they had nice ones. I mean, before too.
They were nice. Yeah, I mean, now they're
times, it
very,
was
very,
yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
They've done a really great job. Tommy.
But the
and
new
his
pool
team.
probably be a big addition.
So the other item on the agenda is the 30-room hotel for Times Square that Terry is proposing. The thing that's obviously, I don't think there should be a hotel in Times Square, but it doesn't matter what I think. I don't have a vote, and people can vote on whatever they want to, however they want to. The thing that bugs me a little bit about that process is he proposed a 50-room hotel to the LPA. The LPA shot it down 7-0. And Anita and the LPA, they wanted to make sure that the town council knew every single thing on the table that he put there that they rejected. Now he lops off 20 rooms. It's 30 or 31 hotel. And by the way, I invited Terry on the show today. He didn't get back to me. Just for whatever it's worth, I did post the updated pictures. So that now there's a 30-room hotel. I don't think it's really right that you get to go to the town. It's a new project to me. Don't you think that he should have to go back to the beginning and let the LPA go through it again? Again, I'm not asking you. Maybe you can't answer that. I don't want
Well,
to get you in trouble.
No, I mean, again, we talk about process.
Generally.
There's a process. The LPA is there to advise the council. They made their vote.
But they made a vote on a different project. Really?
Sure. And I think they encouraged him to come back. I will tell you that when I met with Terry and his team, I encouraged them to go back to the LPA with their redesigned. They're choosing to come to the council. So, I mean, we'll see when,
Right.
that was what we see tomorrow. Maybe something completely different that is out there in the public now.
Okay, but now it's operating in the dark. Like nobody knows what you're going to, if you say it like that. I'm not saying you're operating in the dark. Now you're saying he might not even be 30. Well, that's like, okay, he's just bringing whatever he wants to the
No,
town
I
council.
will tell you in our meeting, what you see, what has been reported is what he told me that he was going to bring
Okay,
to the table.
30
I'm just saying
Gotcha.
somebody can change their own mind between
Right.
when you meet
And then
with them
just start again.
Sure.
Okay. So what is your, generally, what is your vision for Times Square?
I told you that last.
Oh, I already asked you
Yeah,
that?
you asked me that.
Can you repeat? I forget things.
Yeah, so I told you that it's been a long time since Megan and I have had a chance to get off the island and just have lunch somewhere.
Right.
And
Oh,
we
okay.
decided to go to Bimini Bait Shack, and now that the mangroves are gone, you used to be able to pull in there and walk out into the, the intercoastal kind of thing there. But now those mangroves are gone. So when you sit at Bimini Bay Check, you look out those garage doors and all you see is the beautiful Gulf, and there's nothing in the way. And you're elevated. It's in a building that's, way up in the air, and it's got a band that plays over the top of the bar. So it looks down on you, and it's a thatched roof like this. And it was the first time since the storm where I actually remembered why I live here, why I chose to live here. And it's literally everything that you have in your mind. It's the only time that I can remember since the storm where my brain has literally stopped worrying about every single thing that's going on and just watch the boats going by. And so for me, whatever that vision is for Times Square, that's what people go to Times Square for, right? They go there to vacation. They go there to, we get spoiled. We get to see it every single day. I can tell you, I can count on one hand how many times I've actually been out to the beach and enjoyed, whether it be a walk or taking the dogs.
By the way, the beach is a lot wider now. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a lot of nice beach out there now.
I've been out there for work, right? But I mean, to be able to since Ian, I have never had a chair sitting in that sand.
Yeah,
I've never been out there to just sit down and
chair.
Somebody get Dan a chair.
Well, we rent them.
Get him a beach chair.
Well, we rent them, so I have plenty of chairs.
Yeah.
Megan,
I'm
always got to be moving. I've always got to be.
Don't you think it would be nice to have like a Mango-ritas in Times Square?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're here.
Pressure is on.
He's got that smirk. He's got that smirk.
By the way, there is another proposal coming up. I know I was asked not to say anything yet, but you'll see it on our page because we have a great relationship with the folks putting it together. There is another proposal for something that's going in there, and they're building it the right way. They're building it back according to what the rules are, and there's no hotel rooms at the top. So there is something else coming up.
Well, I think, I don't know what you know or don't know, but you were told
he doesn't
not
know
saying.
much,
Yeah.
but
So
I've heard of a couple people. I've not seen anything, but
so the other thing is Cottage is not the Cottage.
Shuckers?
No, the one next to Margaritaville. I'm drawing a blank. Salty Crab is.
they're coming.
The guys at the Salty Crab said that if everything goes according to, did you already vote on that or
No, it
okay,
hasn't
so
come
anyway, what they told
It's
me
been
was
at the LPA, but
right that if everything goes according to plan, they'll break ground later this year and they'll be open by next year, which is nice. 2 stories, no hotel rooms at the top. The Whale is coming along great. I know we repeat this stuff, but it is worth
again, that
repeating.
goes back to the positivity, right?
Yeah.
Don't let the bad days win. That's the positivity. You look at all the things that are coming back, the same name places that are coming back that were here before Ian, SOBs that just opened. You've got the Whale coming,
right.
the Cottage.
They all look different, but they're
you've got the proposal coming forward for the Salty Crab. So you've got the beach bar. I mean, all these places that are coming, all the condos that are coming back online. It's pretty impressive to see. That just tells you what this community is about, right? It just tells you that you could take the buildings, you can change them, and you can do all kinds of things, but the people that are here are always the same people. I posted the other day, you never know who you're going to see walking down the street. You never know what you're going to see walking down the street, and that's what makes Fort Myers Beach so different.
Sometimes
that's
it's a chicken.
Sometimes
you see
it's
chickens,
a horse.
sometimes a horse.
Sometimes you see someone in a sloth costume.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, I can't. Someday I should write a book. I'm not a big writer.
listen.
But someday I should write a book on everything I've
I
seen.
think you
in the
could
last 4
easily
years,
do
3
a
years.
reality show down here, and it would.
It is,
make
but I
a
think that's what-
ton.
Pretty
You
sure
know,
we're doing
and-
one right now.
And you know what I think? What's so great about it is being able to talk to all the people that come from all over the country and all over the world that come here. And some of them are very successful. I've talked to CEOs of major companies that have come down here, and they're like, we came here because we saw the devastation, but we've been following and we've seen how much progress that you've made. And everybody looks like they're having so much fun all the time. And I've said it before, you never know if someone owns Walmart or they push carts at Walmart, because nobody wears their wealth on their sleeve. They just, who knows? There could be a billionaire sitting here and you wouldn't even know it. They're probably sipping on a mimosa or they're drinking a coffee.
Who knows? Maybe that guy going across the bridge on his bike was a billionaire, and I missed my opportunity. Damn it.
Yeah. Kim's trading him in for a younger model.
So Dan, he had a question. I don't know if you know the answer, but if you saw my post this morning, the Wyndham is finally down. You snap your finger and the Wyndham comes down.
That's a long snap.
I think people got the sarcasm. So have you heard anything about the Wyndham other than
I have heard that I believe I have a meeting. this week or next week about an idea that they have. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Okay.
So it sounds like they want to progress forward. I don't know what it looks like yet.
Okay,
but-
so I don't know if it's the same thing what I heard, but I heard that the owners would like to at least temporarily put something like a tiki bar on the beach or something for the
Yeah, I
people
don't
on the
know.
south end.
I
I
don't-
think that's one of the things that
Can you
I
hear me, Dad?
posted. So
it sounds
hopefully,
like they want to do something.
right, not
I mean,
rebuild a hotel right yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Right.
have any details. But they have reached out to.
That's got to
me.
be the longest demolition of a building on planet Earth, but we're all glad it's down, right?
It is. It is. You know, it's.
Focus on the positive.
I know.
Exactly right. Exactly
That
right.
wasn't very negative. That was true. It took a little while for that building to come down.
Yeah, but it's gone
It
now,
is-
and
it
I
is
think
gone.
that was part of the rebar that blocked the
Wait,
the
Oh
San
my
Estero
God.
Boulevard.
how does
that
that
happen?
how did that happen?
Like you either have to be going fast, or
They
you
were
have
going
to have
fast, yeah.
all the rebar on one side of
Well,
the truck.
If anybody knows anything about rebar, it's extremely heavy. It
Oh,
may look
yeah.
small, but
Oh
when
yeah,
you pile it up, so
we used to have
they
that in
had
the car for
dumpster-
defense.
Yeah,
like
they-
I had a piece of it.
they had a dumpster full of rebar, and they took that corner too fast, and it tipped it on its side and sent it all over the road. And
Who
It was-
picked it up?
the company came. Well, LCSO had to go down, and then they.
Because you
brought a
can't
company
you
down.
can't have like two guys picking that up.
No,
That's
you need,
heavy.
you need heavy
No.
equipment. I mean, that stuff is.
You can't call AAA for
So they
that.
brought another dumpster down and put it on the sidewalk and loaded it into that. And then they had it closed down. I was late getting to the SOB ribbon cutting because they had, I mean, I sat in front of the Red Coconut for 45 minutes waiting to get through
Did
because they
they
had to load that. It was a mess.
did they delay the ribbon cutting until you got there?
I don't know if they did or they didn't, but I was there in time for the ribbon cutting. So
It was supposed to be at 10. Were you there at 10?
I was there about 10, 15.
So they waited for you. You could say it, Dan.
I
It's
don't-
okay that
I
they
don't
wait
know
for the
that-
mayor.
honestly,
you can say it.
I don't know. I was
Because
off
you're
to the
very
side.
popular around here.
Oh yeah, yeah. In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any behind the scenes stuff at the town hall you want to share? Any gossip about town hall or stuff we don't know about or anything
No.
juicy?
No, I mean we're getting close. Like I said, town hall's coming.
Yeah,
If
you already
you've
said
noticed
that.
the parking lot next door, they're moving very quickly on that. We've got a lot of things coming up. Bay Oaks, that when we get those trailers out of there, we've got that $1 million grant that's got to happen very quickly. So
Yeah. So
Will's going to be busy.
yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing everybody should be aware of is I think the death is coming for the beach school unless you all get involved. And I mean, it just doesn't sound good that they hired a consultant to advise the school board after a
Yes, I'm glad
decision.
you brought that up. Everybody needs to get very vocal with their school board. There's a vote coming up, I believe, or there's a discussion on June 3rd about it.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Ederholt has been on the ad hoc committee. He would be far more versed in it than I would. But we did sign an interlocal agreement. I'm probably going to be a little more aggressive than Jim would be. That's why he's probably better on the ad hoc committee than I am. We did sign an interlocal agreement with them. We all know that every council member is 100% behind that school. We have moved and we've worked very hard to make any developer coming in or any business on the island to try to put them in a position to encourage their workers to bring their kids. And they got up to 72 kids of the 80 when the time it got closed down again. So we were doing our part.
Yes.
I don't think it's too much to ask the school board to do their part.
Mhm.
Their part, we signed an agreement with them. They are our partners. I certainly hope they don't decide to close that school down.
This consultant, I mean, why else would you hire a consultant to deliver the information that you already want to
and
hear?
again, Jim and the ad hoc committee can speak much better to it. But my understanding is that they got the cost per student down and in line with everybody else. We did get our enrollment up. We're well on our way to meet our goals.
Yeah, you guys
They
did
had
everything you were
promised they were
supposed to.
going to build a cafeteria because the trailers, the ad hoc, agreed to get rid of the trailers. So there's a lot of moving parts in there. I believe the town has been doing what we said we
Yeah.
would do.
100%.
I would expect that the school board would do their part.
So the process for that, the timetable for that is that report is going to be available next week. And I know that John Koss is going to have a copy of it and Jim will get a copy of it. I've requested a copy of it so that I can share it with the community here. And it's not going to be, it's all public documents. Everything, thank God for Florida, is public. And then the school board meeting is June 3rd. And that's when the consultant will issue the report and talk to the school board about it. If you're,
You got to get involved.
you got to go to
gotta
the
get
meeting.
involved.
You got to speak
Send
at public
emails.
comment.
Send, the superintendent came down to the beach and campaigned on the beach that she supported the school. So you've got to get out there. You got to get involved. It's an important school. It's a piece of our history. I've always said you can't have a community without a school. So this school is important. It's been here longer than most of us in this room, if not all of us in this room. So it's important that it stays. Hopefully they hear our message. The town council is 100% behind keeping that school here, and we'll do what we have to do to make sure that they hear it. But it's unfair to these kids. These kids, they can't fend for themselves, right? They can't. Their parents have lost their houses. They're trying to, and they're still taking their kids off island. They're busing them. They're getting up early. It's putting strain on these kids. You've asked us to do something. We were on our way to do it.
Mhm.
We were 8 kids away from reaching our goal. You haven't held up your end of the deal. It's time for you to step up and do what you said you were going to do. And I don't mean to be that blunt, but it's to me, it's
we love
BS.
it when you're blunt.
It's BS that we should have to go through this again after we did it 2 years ago, fought hard to keep that school, and now we have to do it again.
That's the school superintendent. The school superintendent.
I don't get riled up much,
I
but
know.
that riles me up.
She was on our show at Margaritaville. I mean, and she just looked into the camera and said, yes, the beach should have a school. So I hope that when the school board meets on June 3rd, she says I know she's the superintendent. She doesn't have a vote on that.
No, she's like the town manager. Essentially.
Right. She should
Yeah.
say, yes, the beach. I said it in the past. Yes, the beach should have a school. Let's make that happen. And I mean, it'll be interesting to watch. I don't watch many school board meetings unless it involves the beach school.
I mean, and it's been working. And the people that I've talked to that have implemented that, bring your kids to work.
Mhm.
You've got a good after school program. It's been working. It's worked for their schedules. It's worked to help, increase their employees numbers. I mean, it's what we've been doing is working. We're just saying, give us a chance. Don't use a storm as an excuse to do something that you've been trying to do for a decade.
All right. So go ahead.
Are you done with that?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask because it came up.
Should I get
don't
off
know.
my soapbox now?
No.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Someone had asked us last week or the week before, we were talking about impact fees. Are there any closer to
Well,
getting a fee schedule together?
You're stealing one of my questions for tomorrow. I mean,
Okay.
it's going to be.
I stole one of his. I stole one of his.
yeah.
Hey,
No, you remember it was a couple months ago. Jason Green was there and said they were going to be. I'm hoping we're going to hear something soon. But again, because these things are getting approved or they're not getting approved,
Doesn't mean- right.
until they get their permit, they still have to pay these impact fees. So, and they fully expect
because you
to do
could
it.
use the money, not you.
Well,
but-
and I thought it was I don't remember who had the suggestion. We were talking about the mitigation wall, the wave wall, whatever you want to call it. For those of you who don't know or haven't been paying attention, it's coastal construction or coastal protection system. If you've ever been up to Clearwater Beach, has it. It's something that goes down in the water. It's a huge advantage for you as a homeowner as well as a business owner. If you have it in place, you can get the flood maps changed. Give you an example. If it was in front of back when Margaritaville was building the
Yep.
Grand Resorts, they had proposed doing it at their cost. At the time, the town council didn't vote for it, so it kind of went away. Had that been in place, Times Square would already be back open because you would have been allowed to build back at grade level, just like this is, dry flood proofed. You'd have been able to build it back at
Mhm.
grade level because of the flood zone would have changed. Why is that important? Anyone that has a tax or has a insurance bill, when your flood insurance changes, that's significant,
That's a
right?
good amount
So
of money. Yeah.
we're looking at trying to do an island-wide thing, but that takes a lot of participation from the people who live on the beach. I think if
Are
you
you
watch
saying the
meeting,
impact fees would go to support
well, someone
that?
suggested
was
that.
like,
I don't
well, how
remember
did
who.
we
Yeah,
get
I'm
here?
sorry. Someone suggested that can we legally say the impact fees could go to something like that to help offset that cost? I think that is something that is a true public benefit, not just for the businesses in which it's in front of or the homeowners in which it's in front of, but it solves a lot of issues. If you design it, you can make it so they could have a boardwalk, or you could have a bike lane, or you could have a walk path. So you would be able to get off Estero Boulevard.
Right.
People could walk up and down. They could bike up and down. And it's not egregious. People think when you say wall, they think it's a 6-foot wall. It's going to block their view. It can be designed. And if you have a chance to go to Clearwater and walk it, it's very impressive. It's very low. It allows you for a place to sit. There's lights on it that, are turtle friendly. There's water stations to get drinks. And then every so often the wall stops and then it's a level walk down right onto the beach. and then you've got your sand dunes, and it protects not just the people on the beachfront, but it protects everybody down the street because it breaks up that wave action.
Right.
So it's something that the council, I think, is moving forward with. We've given direction to make sure this is a priority. For me, I'd love to see it the entire island. Whether or not
Right.
that'll happen, we don't know. But
Dan, I don't know if this question is something you can address because it's a state project and we really don't know. Maybe you do know, so I'll ask the question. So, when do you know that the state is going to flip that striping so that there are 2 lanes coming over the bridge? Do you know that they set a date when they're gonna? It
You're
looks
talking
like
about
it's
that
ready.
side?
Yeah, it looks like it's ready.
Well, yeah, I don't remember the dates, but they
Soon?
there was something that was put out. I think the town shared it that they're overnight they're going to be closing it down for a few days to be able to finish the striping on that side.
So that means
It's
that both
soon.
lanes will be coming over the bridge the way they have it planned. Okay,
and I
so
don't remember. It's going to be done overnight. But if you
Sure,
go
sure.
back to the town's Facebook page, there was a post there.
yes,
that
I
was
remember
shared.
seeing that.
Okay.
The second question was, so you're still not allowed to ride bikes on the sidewalk by the where they have the walking path. You're not
yeah.
allowed to ride your bike on
I
that.
think is the sign still up? I've never ridden a bike over it in a long time,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Oh, on the
You
bridge?
just walked over it. I know you were
You're
too
not
busy
allowed.
getting
The
numbers.
sign's
but
still on the
The
ground
sign there.
that you
there's
can't
a
ride a
sign.
bike.
There's a sign.
Okay, you
up
can't
too.
ride a bike.
But
So,
people,
people
but is
do.
there going to be a
I
bike
see
lane in
people
that
ride
road? I
it,
couldn't
riding
figure it
more
out.
than walking them.
My understanding is that it's a shared use path. Once it's done, the bikes and the walkers are going to be on
That's
the
not what I
same-
mean. I mean in the road. Is there a bike lane in the road?
No, not that I'm aware
So
of.
what does an electric bike do?
It's a state bridge. It's a state bridge.
Yeah.
It's not a town bridge.
No, I mean, so are they supposed to walk their electric bikes over?
It's just it's a state bridge, not a town bridge, so it doesn't fall under the town's ordinance.
Okay, so I should ask the state, is what you're telling me.
I would ask the state. I don't know what the state law is as far as riding e-bikes on the sidewalk. I don't know.
So obviously I don't think you can do that because you can't ride any bike on that sidewalk. So you should ride the e-bike in the road.
Well, you're not allowed to ride e-bikes on the sidewalk in the town of Fort Myers Beach. That's a state bridge.
No, I'm saying, but you're not allowed to ride any bike on that section. So what I'm saying is you
But
have to
that's-
ride your e-bike in the
That's
road.
the intent, is to be able to put bicycles and
Cars.
pedestrians on that.
What is your problem with that?
I think Dan's speaking in tongues right now. I mean, seriously,
Am I?
there's
So
a sign on the ground
section
that
you
says,
can't drive cars.
Okay.
You're going to be able to do bikes
maybe I don't
and walk.
Maybe I don't understand. When there's a sign on the ground with a bike on it and a line through it, I was under the impression that meant no bikes.
does.
Is that what?
If whether or not that's going to be there when they finish the project, I don't
What
know.
are you looking at me like that for?
I don't know what
He
you.
asked me the question.
No,
Don't
but
a-
you-
Are you getting me yelled at? No more questions.
Here he comes.
As we get older, we bought electric bikes so we can come down there and not have to drive through
Sure.
traffic during season. So when we have the electric bikes and we had the path over on this side, and we wanted to know now, after all the construction, we were able to use that little lane there, but now we can't. So, and also we were told by the beach police officers that we weren't allowed to ride our bikes on that lane. And there's signs up there that says, "Do not ride bike. You have to walk your bikes."
On the walking path, right?
On a walking
Right.
path. Well, between me having asthma and my wife having blood pressure issues, we bought electric bikes so we can come down here and not be part of the traffic problem.
Sure.
We just want to know, are you going to at least have some path for us? If it's a state issue, then I would say bring it up to them.
Yeah.
But let us know that we can use these electric bikes. We paid a lot of money.
But
for
where
these
do you
bikes.
ride it now? Like coming over the bridge? How
I
do you
come
do
from
it?
Iona, and
No,
I
where? How do you get over the bridge?
right now they did open it up after they put the guardrail up, so we can ride in that path.
Yeah,
That's
but
not,
that's not going to be there.
well, that used to be the way to come across, and then
Yeah.
we came down and they had
Yeah.
it blocked off. I had to lift the bikes over. They
I-
didn't tell us.
Well,
I
again,
want-
it's my understanding that the new path that is
Thank
finished
you.
going over on the east side of the bridge,
Yeah.
where the only walking path is going to be a shared use bike and pedestrian path. That's my understanding.
All right, I guess we should get that clarified so people know. I mean,
yeah, I'll be happy to.
I wonder. I tried to look out
I'm
on
sure
the.
somebody
We
listening
got
is
another question.
probably
Okay.
typing it
Oh
in.
God! I looked out on the bridge, and I was trying to figure out if there's enough room for a bike lane. Are they going to put a bike lane? It looked like, now that I remember walking over, it looked like there was enough room on one side for a bike lane. Like maybe coming over the bridge, it looked like there was enough. But that doesn't help anybody going off. You can't ride.
No,
I don't know. I guess we'll figure out when they stripe it.
The reason they widened that was to be able to get bikes and,
And
pedestrians on
pedestrians.
there. Yes.
Hey, Dan,
Hey, Kevin.
we have an ordinance, I think, about requiring a silt fence on Estero Boulevard
if you've got an empty lot.
Correct.
Is that correct?
It's my understanding, yes.
Now that we got Will, military guy, can we have him take names and kick butt
Sure.
to enforce it? Because I'll tell you, 90% of the empty lots down Estero Boulevard do not have silt fences.
Which
And
leads
if
to the
and
issue
as you
of the
drive
sand.
down, you look across on the other side of the street, and the curb is filled with sand.
Right.
And of course, it's all going to end up in our
Mhm.
drainage
Storm
system.
drains.
And you just got all that new sand. You want to keep it there.
Thank you for
Yes.
shaving for the show, Kevin. You look very clean shaven. Thank you for shaving. for
Yeah,
the show.
well, if you remember a month ago, I was encouraging people, if you have a home along Estero Boulevard, put your silt fencing up, because
Yeah, you've been
the
saying
sand
that for a
you-
long time.
the sand that they paid to fill in their lot from the scouring is also blowing into the beach, so, or onto the road. So it would make sense for you to put up a silt fence to try to help block that. But,
All right. Does anybody? Oh, Jamie, how are you, man?
oh,
Jamie,
Wow, lots of
Haka.
participation
Like it. Like the
today.
audience participation.
I don't want to be negative, and I'm not going to be. But we talked about Times Square a little bit, and I remember when Margaritaville was being built, they tried to protect the view of the water as they came over the bridge, and that's why they were limited. And a lot of people are confused about the comp plan. No, it was the view. That's why. Now Terry, he's got some good ideas. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but Debbie and I, we spend a lot of time downtown, and we really feel like that should be maybe talked about being an entertainment zone where they allow music later. And just like when we go to Nashville, there's some hotels like the Moxie, it's entertainment all night long. I'm not saying Fort Myers Beach needs to go that direction,
sure.
but I really feel like I want to make a suggestion that maybe the town council look at the downtown area as an entertainment zone. So if somebody does build a hotel or builds hotel rooms, they understand that going in, that, you know, they're not approved. It's going to be noisy till 11 o'clock, until the,
Sure.
the quiet hours. And, you know, I do respect what the town does. And as I said, I know they try and do the right thing. And I would never criticize. I want to offer suggestions. And that's
I hear
the
a
one
butt
suggestion.
coming. No,
No, there is no
I'm
butt.
just
That's a
kidding.
suggestion.
no.
That maybe make that an
Well,
entertainment
as
zone.
you know,
So
we're
if
going
somebody
through the
does,
comp plan. We're,
Yep.
we're looking at, so they have another one coming up. I would suggest take it out there and put it out there. I did ask Andy to work on getting a dedicated spot on our website, just specifically for the comp plan, because not everybody is here
Mhm.
and not everybody can go to these charrettes, if you will, with the town staff. I will follow up with him this week, if not tomorrow, to find out where that's at, because I think it's important to have. Not everybody can be here to offer suggestions to the comp plan, but I think everybody's voice needs to be heard, and that's an easy way for people to be able to do it virtually.
thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Any other questions from the audience for the mayor? Anybody else have any questions for the mayor?
He's thinking about it.
Anybody? Anything that we missed?
No, I think we covered more than I was expecting.
So tomorrow, big day tomorrow. A lot of things on
Yeah,
the
it's
agenda.
going to be a long
We'll
meeting.
see
It's
Will.
969 pages.
Mhm.
We got 8 public hearings and
Oh
5
my God!
administrative
I thought it
agendas,
was
so
going to
it's
go
gonna
to
be-
that meeting, but no way, Jose.
It's going to be a long meeting, but there's a lot of, you know, the fact that we're having long meetings tell you that
lot of
there's a lot
stuff.
of progress
Yeah.
going on, right? There's a lot of things happening. So,
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Big hand for the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, Dan Allers. All right, everybody. Before I read the Veach is for the Veach email, it's already on our Facebook page. People are commenting on it now, and feel free to share it on the FMB Rising page. Let me tell you about a couple of our sponsors. The first one is called Flex Seal. Flex Seal is secure system, and the reason that Flex Seal is advertising with us now is because it's hurricane season on June 1st, and you want to be ready. Sam Bays is the person to contact at Flex Seal. You saw him on our show. They've got this product that you can seal up some of the places where the water gets in during a storm with a lot of water and flooding. And the great part about this product is it's not expensive, and when you peel it off, it doesn't take the paint with it. The secure system can be installed on a single home or an entire community, and Sam is a certified floodplain manager. So give Sam a call right now on his cell phone. He's sitting in his car waiting for you to call and said, Sam, I need some Flex Seal in my garage just in case there's a flood. I mean, not only during a storm, but, you know, when it rains down here, some of the streets really suck. I mean, they flood. And the last thing you want, I mean, I didn't even ask him about the side streets. At least you could put this stuff on your garage or back door and keep the water out. Sam's phone number is 954-343-3337. 954-343-3337. Joining us now is Tom Coleman from Eagle Eye Aluminum, another person that you can trust to come to your house. And what would you do if you...
Speaking of rain,
Yes.
we will collect it and we will dispose of it properly.
Yes, the rain
For the gutters.
from the gutters.
Yes.
Is that all you do, or do you do
No,
more?
soffit fascia and gutters. We also do rescreens. And, it's that time of the year where the cooler evenings, you like to go out in the back of the night and maybe enjoy a cold beer or a cocktail. And then the mosquitoes start coming in. Allow us to come and close that in. We'll put the screen in and keep the bugs out, buddy.
And how do you reach Eagle Eye Aluminum?
239-340-1639. And we have a Facebook page. Wife has just updated some recent photos from here on the beach, as well as a couple of other areas.
All right. And if you're here in the live studio audience and you want to talk to Tom about the product, he'll be sitting right here in the corner until 2:00 today.
No.
Okay. For the next 10 minutes. All right. So the final sponsor before we get to the email is Parrot Key. Parrot Key, waterfront dining at Salty Sam's Marina. Sunday brunch from 9 a.m. to noon featuring Monster Marys, bottomless mimosas. Wait, what's a Monster Mary? Has anyone ever had? Oh, like a Bloody Mary. Instead of a Bloody Mary, they call it a Monster Mary. Does it come with a scary face on the front of the cup or something, like a monster? Red snapper. Bottomless mimosas and lobster eggs Benedict, twin lobster tails for Sunday dinner. Now, folks, this is the time of the year where we really need people to come to the beach and spend money at the restaurants, whether it's Wahoo Willie's or Snug Harbor, Nervous Nellie's, SOB, Parrot Key, the Pancake House. We need you to come down from Fort Myers, from Cape Coral, from Estero, and help us out through the summer months. The summer months are the tough months down here. And just walk on the beach and realize how beautiful that beach is now, thanks to Chad and Michael Poff and the town of Fort Myers Beach. So you can also go on myparrotkey.com. That's myparrotkey.com. All right, everybody, before we let you... Oh, go ahead. 3. You're on 3. So you got to read the number.
It looks like a 2. You're talking about season, but this place has been packed today.
Yes.
So, and next weekend is Memorial Day, right?
No.
Yes.
Is next weekend Memorial Day?
Yes.
No, 2 weekends.
No, next
weekend.
weekend.
All right. Very nice.
So hopefully we'll see a lot of people down here.
All right. Do you guys want me to read the email? Do you care if I read the email? All right. I'm going to read the email. This is an email that was sent from former Councilman Bill Veach to current Vice Mayor Jim Adderholt. And it was sent on January 4th, 2025. And the subject line is Seagate. And by the way, if you want to look on our Facebook page, I posted it. Feel free to share it with your friends, neighbors, and family members if you want.
January 4th?
It says, Jim, we missed you at the Christmas bicycle parade. In fact, the only counselors that were there were the ones that voted against Seagate. It would seem that those that voted for Seagate did not feel welcome in the community they represent. The level of public outrage at the project is unprecedented. If allowed to continue, there will be lawsuits and recall petitions. January 4th. It will not pass quietly, and the public that you are supposed to serve has a long memory. Fort Myers Beach has a bit of a history of former councilors leaving the town after serving, some after feeling hurt after losing an election. You pride yourself as being a champion of the people and one that shows up at events. My prediction is that you and Brenda will end up moving away if you let this pass. Maybe even before your term is up, Jim. You'll be ostracized, and it will eventually effectively remove you from much of our island society. It would be unfair for Brenda. I have even heard people questioning your ethics, Jim, by sticking with a wildly unpopular project that throws an entire neighborhood under the bus. I implore you to bring this up for reconsideration and vote it down. Have the developer start with what was envisioned for the property in the comprehensive plan, a walkable neighborhood with ample retail, not a massive exclusive monolith that will block out the sky for an entire neighborhood. It's never too late to do the right thing. Some of that is fine, but for those of you that didn't like Freddie Weaver's email to the town manager where the wife was brought into it, who has nothing to do with politics, just be consistent that this isn't good either, that you shouldn't be allowed to bring somebody's wife into it for no reason. Thank you all very much for coming to Wahoo Willie's today, and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.